Ah, my ear still hurts.
You can't always get to the doctor right away, but you don't always need the ER. Meritus Urgent Care. Open 7 days a week, no appointment needed. Just warm, expert medical care when you need it most. Visit our website to see our real-time wait info, then visit the location that works best for you. Meritus Urgent Care. Treating the community well.
Hello, I'm Joe Fleischman, Executive Chef Food Production Manager for Meritus Medical Center in Hagerstown, Maryland. And today we're going to make a no-bake summer lasagna. Something you can enjoy in the summer, as the name implies. Spring, fall, or winter, it's great any time of the year. You don't want to turn on the oven when it's too hot outside. This is a great way to get one of your favorites that's no-bake. It's quick, it's easy, it looks wonderful, and best of all, it is vegetarian. So let's begin. First thing we want to do is take our lasagna sheets. This is a no-cook lasagna sheet. These are readily available in grocery stores, etc. We're actually going to cook this thing. We're going to boil it as you would a traditional lasagna sheet, but the good thing about this one is we're going to cut it into fours. And basically our lasagna, we're going to stack them individually. So when we have our 4 squares cut, they're going to be about this big. We'll need 3 squares per order. So again, I'm going to have 4. That's okay. 1 extra we have is not a big problem. We're going to put it off to the side. I'm going to go ahead and begin to cook these. We want to cook these just until they're al dente. Again, these are basically a pre-cooked lasagna noodle. So we only need to kind of heat it through a little bit. We're going to put it in our salted water that we've already begun to pre-boil over here. 2-3 minutes, we're going to take it out. We're going to shock it in some ice water. Then we're going to remove it over to our towel-lined plate, sort of get some of that water off our noodle, and we'll begin to prep our other ingredients. But let's begin to get our noodles going. Put them in individually, sort of shake them around, they won't stick. It'll take a little bit of time for the water to come back up to a boil, and that's great. Again, these don't take long at all. We just want them to become pliable, a little al dente, and they're very good to go. You can certainly use a traditional dried lasagna noodle if you wanted to. I find that they're a little bit skinny for this application, but if you can find some that are a little bit wider, cut them in half and use a half. They work just wonderfully. There we go. Our lasagna noodles are coming back up to a boil. We're going to turn down the heat just slightly. We don't want to boil over, and we're going to let them go. The other ingredients we're going to be using in this lasagna will be yellow squash, a zucchini, fresh basil, red onion, grape tomatoes, ricotta and Parmesan cheese, and fresh garlic. Very, very simple recipe. What we're going to do is begin to break down our vegetables. We're going to start by removing the top and the bottom from our squash. Sort of put those off to the side. Now what we're going to do is we want to make these somewhat flat because we're going to stack them. And we want them to be bite-sized. We don't want them to be too lumpy. We want all of our vegetables to sort of lay nice and flat whenever we go to stack them. So we're going to cut these into a half moon, about, I would say a 1/4 inch thick. I'm going to make enough that we would be able to fill a couple towers if we chose. Okay, put this back. And we're going to do the same thing to the zucchini. Larger zucchinis, if they have a lot of seeds in them, I would probably suggest removing those. But the smaller zucchinis like this, not too bad. And again, we're going to cut these in a half moon, somewhere about a 1/4 inch. Put these off to the side. And we're going to julienne up a little bit of onion. We already have an onion that we've peeled. We've halved it. We're going to cut it in half again. And we're simply going to julienne it slightly. A little bit of onion goes a long way, so we don't need a whole lot. Okay, put those in there. We have that. We're going to cook the majority. We're kind of going to break this down into 2 separate pans. Let's go over here and check our lasagna noodles if we could. And those look wonderful. They are done. We are going to remove them from the pan. Again, we're going to shock them in a little bit of ice water. Drain them off. We're going to let those sit. and cool down. Like I said in the beginning, we'll remove them when they're cool and we'll put them here on the paper towel or the rib towel to dry, I should say. Okay, we'll remove that. We also have our tomatoes that we're simply going to halve. We're going to cook the tomatoes and the onions together. I'm going to switch to a little paring knife here. We're going to cook our tomatoes and our onions together, our squash and our zucchini together in 2 separate pans. We're going to mix our ricotta and our Parmesan cheese along with some fresh basil, salt and pepper, a little bit of garlic, and we're going to be off to the races. If you don't have any of the smaller variety tomatoes available, you can use a beefier tomato, a beefsteak, early girl, anything you have around, anything you like. Again, just cut it as you did the squash and the zucchini, and you're not going to have to saute it as long. You probably, depending on how fresh or how ripe the tomato is, you may not even have to cook it anyway. You can simply layer it. And we'll get more into that in just a second. Okay. And again, I'm doing enough filling here for probably 2 or 3 stacks, even though we're going to do 1. I want to make sure we have plenty. Okay, there we go. That's all there is to it in terms of prep work. We've got our noodles done. They're in our ice bath. We're going to take them out in just a second. Put them to drain here on our towel. There's 1, 2, and 3. Okay. Right, we've got everything done. We're going to go ahead, chiffonade a little bit of basil, which basically means we're going to julienne this basil. Rough chop would be just fine. The easiest way to cut basil, and again, this is nice, fresh, straight out of the garden kind of stuff. We're going to lay it flat on our cutting board. We're going to roll it up like a cigar. We're just going to run our knife through it. We're going to have a nice julienne basil that we're going to add to our ricotta cheese. Okay. That completes our prep work. Please stay tuned. When we come back, we're going to complete our dish, get everything cooked, and we'll be off to the races.
Mom, my ear still hurts.
You can't always get to the doctor right away, but you don't always need the ER. Meredith Urgent Care. Open 7 days a week, no appointment needed. Just warm, expert medical care when you need it most. Visit our website to see our real-time wait info, then visit the location that works best for you. Meredith Urgent Care. Treating the community well.